Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another boxing, another offline product game review. This is Prodeus for the PlayStation 4, but this is being played and tested on my PlayStation 5. To jump right into it, this physical copy here comes with the update version 1.05 already on the disc, and at the time of this video there were no updates available, which is extremely nice to see. Now, like always, I play all my games completely offline with an unregistered account, and though my experience wasn't perfectly flawless, I did have two minor hiccups, but that wasn't just about it, and I'll go into details in a second. But as I said, I do play all my games with an unregistered account, and I was still unlocking trophies, which again is extremely nice. As I said, I did have two minor hiccups throughout the game. I did have the game freeze up twice on me. This wasn't a lockup, but a freeze up, where the game just stopped responding, but I was able to hit the PlayStation button and go back to the PlayStation 5's main menu and just close the application, restart the game up, and it fixed the issue. This only happened twice on me throughout my entire time playing the game, and as well as I did have some AIs getting stuck in environments and running in place and stuff, but this was very minor and far between. That's about it. Everything else generally ran relatively smoothly and perfectly at 60 frames per second, and generally the experience just was flawless, other than those two minor hiccups. Now, please keep in mind, even though at the time of this video there were no updates available and it is a complete physical copy, I do believe there's going to be some more added content to this game because there's a lot of questionable aspects to it. Like when you start up the campaign, there's like extra slots that are empty and it looks like you could fit more like expansions and more continuations of the story, as well as there's certain other smaller things like the unlockable section is completely blank. I beated the game and collected everything and 100% completed the game, and the unlockables don't do anything. I think that has more to do with the Kickstarter campaign, like people who got bonuses like skins or something like that. You can turn that off. That's what the unlockables is in the options menu. I wish they would have done something a little bit better about that, because I didn't even know about this Kickstarter of this game, so I don't know. I hate it when developers include those kinds of stuff in games, because it's very disappointing for someone like me or anybody who's picked up this game and had no idea and see unlockables and you can't do anything with it. But also the next disappointing thing is that the game does support multiplayer, but it's only online and part of their ProNet program or something like that. I do want to point out that if you go online, you can download maps and download campaigns, which does not require PlayStation Network. Now, there wasn't too many options available at the time I get this video, but again, that's really nice in case you do want to play with online, that those campaigns can be downloaded without needing PlayStation Network. But you will need PlayStation Network to play multiplayer, which sadly this game does not support, like a 4-player split screen like deathmatch or something like that, which again is extremely disappointing, and the game could have really used like a horde mode or something like that to add a little bit more value to the game, because really just the game is just a campaign, which the campaign is extremely fun. The game was actually probably one of my most favorite boomer shooters of nowadays standards, and they really went out of the way. The game is heavily stylized, the music is phenomenal. I highly recommend just listening to the OST in this game, as well as the gameplay is very smooth and very responsive, though there were some questionable design aspects. Like I do recommend, if you want to play this game and you're having troubles, look at my options menu. I changed up my controls a little bit, and I'd kind of recommend it because it works a lot better than what the default was. The best explanation I could give you is change your jump button to L1 and change your dash button to R1, and then have weapon select with circle, press X to activate, and square to reload, and triangle for map. This will work a lot better than what the default setup is. The default setup's more like a classic, the original like Doom on PlayStation 1 and stuff. So I really recommend that you go and look at my settings and customize the settings to what I recommend. You will be able to move and jump and shoot and dash at a high rate of speed and accuracy than what they have as default setting. As well as that the game does have unlockables, like in terms of like you get a special resource called ore, and you go to a shop and you can buy like upgrades to the character. I kind of disappointed with this direction, as you have to save up these ores to get like double jump and dash. That really shouldn't have been an ore resource, like special like collectible in game. They should have just gave you that throughout the progression of the story, because it just feels like the developers now had to take into consideration what if the player has yet to get the double jump or the dash ability, as well as that you use it to actually buy super weapons and stuff, which was fine, but for the most part, I would have just liked to get throughout the campaign or find a hidden room that allowed me to get that super weapon later on. And one of the guns is like called the Mammoth, which is like a powerful main BMG Magnum. That weapon should have been like random parts throughout the campaigns. Like you find 5 pieces and you put it together and you made this super powerful weapon instead of just buying it with the ore. The ore should have been more used for like for the unlockable section of the game where you can unlock God mode or bottomless clip or just certain other kind of things like that. That more felt like you just added cheat codes, if you will, than using it as a resource to upgrade the character. I think they could have done a lot better there. Story-wise, they don't really talk too much about the story. I'm really confused on who the main character is and what's really going on. I realize there's the Chaos and the Prodeus, and they're fighting, and you're somehow in the middle, I guess, against both of them in some factor. I really don't know. They're very vague on this, but overall, the gameplay is fast, fluid. I had a blast playing it. I love many of the mechanics and the ideas that they implemented. The guns felt good, sound good. The gameplay is just flawless. I'd say I had more fun with this than Doom Eternal. Well, Doom Eternal was a better gameplay because it's got certain other things. The story of Doom Eternal was really bad, so that kind of killed the game for me. While this game really didn't have a story, so I just focused on the gameplay, which was phenomenal. It was just top notch with that music in your ears too, just this hard rocky music going on, and just the environment exploration was really good. And I loved some of the option features they had where if you don't like pixel graphics, you can turn that off. If you don't like this fuzzy look they have to make it look retro, you can turn that off to make everything sharp and clean. They got a lot of settings in that area, so just look into that if you don't like some of the design aspects of this game in terms of the visuals. They can fix it up. But I love the fuzziness, I love the sprite graphics. I talk about that all the time. I'm a huge fan of sprite graphics. This game was just a gem. I did not expect this. This is why sometimes I really love going into indie games with knowing nothing about it, because you could go into the game and just have a blast with the game because you had no idea what to expect from it. But I do want to point out some other aspects that were a little bit questionable. First off, dying in a game isn't really that punishing. There's a checkpoint system in the game, but when you die, you just respawn. All the enemies still retain their damage. All the enemies don't respawn or anything. Once you die, there's no penalty to death in this game, which makes the whole feeling of dread or pushing to yourself to the limit feel mute or pointless because there's no real punishment to death. I don't mind that if they had it as an option setting where you could choose to have it where there's no consequence to death, but I wish there was an option or a difficulty like Ironclad mode or Iron Man mode where if you die, checkpoint will reset everything, or if you die, you have to restart the entire level, just to add more difficulty to the game. As well as that the game has an auto map feature where it scans the area and shows you the secrets, but it doesn't show you one secret to almost every map in the game, which just was a little annoying because basically I just let me have to resort to going online to figure out what this last secret is, because it was just, I don't really like that because it made it more annoying because there's no way to know where this item is, and unless you have some prior knowledge, you can spend hours looking around. In some areas you can't backtrack, so you have to play the level all over again to try to see if you can find this last ore piece. That was a little annoying. As well as that there are weapons in the game that just aren't available, that are, when you get your weapons selection, you're going to look like you're missing some guns, but some of them they're just not in the game. I think there's like some blueprints or something like that in the code that they were testing, but they are not in the game, or at least they may be added later. As I said, there could be expansions or DLCs and stuff like that. So it's a little annoying to see these like question marks in your weapon inventory section that you can't fill up. As well as the enemy variety could have been they could have just used maybe one or two more, maybe 3 more kinds of enemies, because it does get a little repetitive seeing the same enemies, using the same tactics to be able to overcome the enemies. They could have done something a little bit better about that. There's a lot of potential in this game. They did an amazing job. The gameplay's great, visuals are great, mechanics are great. It just needs a little bit more polish and a little bit more design aspects. Like there's too many weapons and just certain other things. Like the D-pad is not utilized very well. Basically, use the D-pad to navigate through every single gun. You can't set the D-pad to select the main gun you want to use, like push up, you go to the assault rifle, push down, you get shotgun. You can't do that. I don't know why they didn't utilize that, but there's just issues, and it has signs of it, but there's a lot of potential here, and I greatly enjoyed it. I highly recommend looking into this game because it was a lot of fun. If you love boomer shooters, this is going to be right up your alley. I had a lot of fun. I definitely want to run through this game all over again on the highest difficulty. If they are working on a sequel, I definitely want them to really take my feedback to a degree, because there's a lot of potential, but it just needs a lot more tweaks. Get rid of have the auto map, but show everything. Maybe reduce the amount of weapons and utilize the D-pad a little bit more, so that way you can like push up, and they'll go to the minigun, push up once on the D-pad, and go to your assault rifles, push down in the shotgun, you get your normal shotgun, push down twice on your shotgun, you'll get the super shotgun. You can do a lot of utilizations with the game controller than what they did. Clearly this game was with forethought for PC mostly, and the console version is a second thought, but there's a potential you could have done so much more with this game. It's a good game, and I know I'm ragging on it a lot, but it's just because I love the game so much, I want the game to be better, and I can see potential that it be better. It's called Tough Love, and I love the game, I enjoyed the game, and I'm glad to have this game and run through the game, but you can just see the potential, and they just need to pull back and see the potentials of what they can do. So like always, thank you all so much for watching this unboxing video. I will try to leave links down in the description if you're interested to copy. Highly recommend the game. I only put the PS4 version. I kind of just want to pick up the PS5 and the Switch version just to play every variations of this game, because it was a lot of fun. Probably my current time, my most favorite boomer shooter, modern boomer shooter that's available currently physically. So thank you all so much for watching and enjoying this. Hopefully this video was helpful and give you some insight. Please keep in mind, as I said, there could be more DLC and updates to add it to the game. So right now they say there's no updates and it's the most complete package. I could see that changing and not too long in the future. But hopefully I'm proven wrong and they'll just release a sequel. So I'm going to start rambling. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye-bye!